Shiur is dedicated to Nishmas Rachalea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. In the last year, we discussed the halacha of irui, from pouring from a klirishan onto a klisheni, and we pointed out there are many shitas in the Rishonim. We saw the sheet of the Rashbam who says irui from a klirishan is dino ke klisheni. And we didn't mention, but there's a very, very good proof for the Rashbam Shita, even though we do not paskin like the Rashbam lahalacha. Back to that same Mishnah that we've seen a number of times in this shiur, the Mishnah Daf Kuf Mem Hey, the Mishnah told us that if you have something that's already been cooked before Shabbos, shor no so bechamin b'Shabbos, you're allowed to rewarm it, reheat it on Shabbos. Kol shaloba bechamin me'erev Shabbos, if it was not cooked already from erev Shabbos, madichin also bechamin b'Shabbos, you're allowed to rinse it off on Shabbos. If it was not fully cooked, then you're allowed to rinse it off on Shabbos. Meaning, what does rinsing off mean? Irui. You're allowed to be ma'areh from a kli over that food, because after all, irui is not doing bishul. So comes along the Rashbam and says, that's my shita. You're allowed to, you can't put it inside the kli rishon. That for sure is usher. After all, that's going to be bona fide bishul. Kli rishon is mavasha. But what can you do? You can take the kli rishon and pour from the kli rishon over that food. That's going to be okay. Why is that going to be okay? Says the Rashbam, because irui, kli rishon, is kli sheni and is eina mavashel. So Rabbeinu Tam disagrees with that. Rabbeinu Tam says it is mevashel. It's mevashel kedei klipa. So how can you go ahead and understand that Mishnah? So that's exactly what we pointed out in the last year, is that because the Rabbeinu Tam, because of his shita of irui, kli rishon is dino ke kli rishon, is mevashel. So that means when the Mishnah tells us you can pour over this food that was not cooked on Shabbos, he's not talking about pouring from a kli rishon, he's talking about pouring from a kli sheni. Once you're pouring from a kli sheni, that's not mevashel. Irui kli sheni is not mevashel, certainly not. And then we were bothered in the last year, so then if that's mutter, pouring from a kli sheni over the food, why do that? Why not just put it inside the kli sheni itself? And that's what the Balei HaTosfos L'Shitase, Rabbeinu Tam says, that no, there's an isser of mechzik mavashel, putting food in a kli sheni. So we generally assume la halacha like Rabbeinu Tam, that irui, kli rishon, is mevashel kedei klipa. We pointed out la halacha, you're allowed to pour from a kli rishon onto a baby bottle in order to warm it up, because it's only mevashel klipa, which is the bottle itself, not the milk proper. That brings us to the question of making tea on Shabbos. And the Mishnah Brura in Siman Shin Yud Ches Sivkat and Lametes has a long piece which I'd like to go through together, and it's a very good review halach lamaisa of a lot of the principles that we have been learning. So he writes as follows: Va'ata nevar din bishul alei hatei. Let us understand, explain the din of cooking kilis. Hashay bekama yenom lazeh hinei hatei b'Shabbos pashat apostim deyesh b'mishum bishul. First of all, don't let anyone fool you and think that tea is not called food. It certainly is, and there certainly is an isser of bishul when you cook it up on Shabbos. Ve'al kain, he says, yesh li zaher bo ma'od. You have to be very careful about preparation of tea. Ubavanasein harabim, rabim nikshalim bo mekil ma'atzman bekulo she'ein bahen mamish. Ve'al kain muchuk ani levaref ofanei haheter va'isa bazeh be'ezra Hashem yizbarach. Many people err in making tea improperly on Shabbos, and that's why the Mishnah Berurah feels compelled. He has to explain exactly how to make the tea. Okay, so now we're going to start from the basics. How do you make the tea on chol? You take your tea leaf, you put it into a cup, and you pour from the kettle or from the urn onto the tea leaf that is in the cup. Hine. La'aros mikli rishon al alei hatei yesh bazeh bevadei chashash av melacha dekaimalan deiru mevash k'dei kli b'chila kaman sif yud. To do that, to pour from the urn onto the tea leaves that's sitting in the cup, what we do during chol, that's certainly an isser doraisa. After all, the Shulchan Aruch paskins, like Rabbeinu Tam, that irui is mevashel kedei klipa. That's certainly usher. This is what the Shulchan Aruch paskins in Sif Yud. Usher litain tavlin b'ka'ara. You can't take spices and put it onto a dish. Ula aros alein mikli rishon. That's aser, and he paskins because it is mevashel kedei klipa. Fine. So to make tea in the normal way that we would do on chol is certainly aser. V'kol shekain, and also, obviously, if you were to take a tea bag, put it into a kli of some sort, and put that kli, let's say, onto the food inside the tanur, that's certainly bishul. V'kol shekain yamidenu achar kal hatanur b'toch ha'kochlin, so that certainly would be aser. Bevada yavo lekuli amal de iser skila al yedeze. So that's a no good. Okay, so what are other options? Vafil mirtzali tenis aleha tela tocha kli achar sheyara hamayim letocha. Okay, I have a simple solution, says the Mishnah Berurah, step 2. You're going to take hot water, pour that into an empty cup, then you're going to take the tea leaves